All I could hear was wind. The sound never left me. For months traveling across the Himalayas, following the footsteps and handprints of the Lotus-Born Master, the sound of wind was always there. When alone with the wind, I met a Dakini. She kept appearing, taking different forms. The first time I saw the Dakini was during a film expedition. She was a yogini reciting secret mantra alone in a cave. I think she must have been there for months, maybe years. She did not want to be bothered, so I left her alone. The second time I encountered the Dakini, it was at a Himalayan retreat. She was a yoga instructor who taught me two important things: how to stop thinking, and instead, how to feel. On the third occasion, the Dakini manifested as a computer encryption programmer capable of hacking any network or downloading information from the cloud. She sent me a digitally encoded message. I would receive it in another time and space. The fourth time, I ran into her by coincidence. She was a waitress at a tea house on a Himalayan trekking route, where she could change the energy in the room with just a blink of her eye. In Tantric Buddhism, there is no such thing as a coincidence. The fifth time we met, it was in one of those places. You know what I mean. She was a bartender at a punk rock club where she served me a vodka martini, shaken and not stirred.
What do you want?
On every occasion I met the Dakini, I asked her name. Each time she either forgot to tell me, left a different cell phone number, changed her WeChat address, deleted all the text messages and videos, and then promised to never come back. But each time, before leaving, she pointed in a different direction. Following these different roads, they all returned to the same point, where she was eternally waiting with different instructions for another direction. It was only when I became totally confused that I began to understand what she was trying to tell me. I heard her say, with the faintest of breaths, "If you follow the wind, it will blow in all directions and lead where you do not want to go. If you want to go there, then just follow the wind, because you have not been there before. To not go will leave only afterthoughts, so if you choose to take this journey, do not ask directions or unnecessary questions. If somebody gives you directions, do not follow them. Instead, follow the wind. Do you want to know something? That is exactly what I did." Dreams are not illusions. They are access portals to astral dimensions that do not know any limitation of time or space. These realms are beyond the superimposed, theoretically logical frameworks that we have conditioned ourselves to believe in as our self-perceived reality. Actually, none of those things that we hold on to so precious and dearly actually exist. Guess what? Neither do we. I know that this may not make any sense to you at all, but I had a dream. In fact, he came to me in dreams, night after night. Guru Rinpoche, Padmasambhava, the Lotus-Born Master, stood before me and said, "My 8 manifestations are 8 quantum energy fields. Now go tell the world." Now let me ask, What would you do? Guess what I did? In 2018, in accordance with the dream instructions given by the Lotus-Born Master, Shambhala Studio launched a documentary film expedition. Uncovering the legacy of the Lotus-Born Master's journey, we discovered his 8 manifestations actually represent 8 quantum energy fields. Throughout the journey, we asked one single question: could the founder of Tibetan Buddhism also be the father of quantum physics? On our second 2019 Lotus-Born Master documentary film expeditions, Shambhala Studio explored sacred sites in Bhutan, which we think of as portals to parallel universes or multiverses, so future generations could access his teachings. However, the access codes to these terma could only be derived through the help of a Dakini. So in order to understand the hidden teachings of the Lotus-Born Master, we had to first decrypt the Dakini code. In our third documentary expedition in 2021, Shambhala Studios sought to decrypt the Dakini code. The Lotus-Born Master, his final manifestation as Guru Dorje Drolo, wild wrathful Vajra, appeared in Tiger's Nest, Bhutan, riding upon his consort Tashi Kidron, who had transformed into a tigress. Together, adopting the hologram principle, they simultaneously appeared in 13 caves across the Himalayas, each called Tiger's Nest, to control negative forces, binding demons under oath, harnessing them for positive purpose, to protect the terma or secret teachings stored in caves, crevices, or the universal cloud, to be revealed for mankind's benefit at a future time of need. We began our journey searching for the other 13 caves. Through historical records, we identified 6 of them, and then found one in Kham. Is this where Dorje Drolo came? This is Dorje Drolo. The journey beckons to ask if the Lotus-Born Master is the father of quantum physics. Is it possible that he may also be the father of astrophysics? Want to find out? Join us on this journey to the other side of the black hole.
So these are 2 energy fields. Over in the Chimpu is a kind of Vajravarahi. It's very powerful, almost frightening. I wouldn't want to be there at night.
Yes.
And here there seems to be a very charming, you can just almost feel that the Dakinis are very happy and kind of playing around. So maybe he can tell me about those 2 energy fields. Why are they different?
First started out with this documentary, which was with your dream of Guru Senge and the connection to quantum physics. So he was saying that understanding all that and understanding how you feel today, he feels that you have, he feels this, he said this is just purely out of what he thinks, is that you have probably been there in the 8th century while Guru Rinpoche was there, perhaps as one of his disciples, or has some connection with Guru Rinpoche, that you are pursuing this sort of goal or mission in your life in this lifetime. And because of that, when you go to different places, that you can feel sort of the field energies intuitively rather than in a scientific way. That's how he feels, that you have that sort of connection. And once all those obscurations are cleared out, then you are able to see Guru Rinpoche manifested in person. You're able to speak and interact with the Dakinis just as we are doing now. However, he's saying that until and unless we remove these obscurations, he feels that we will not be able to do so. And he feels like this is the essence of what you're trying to capture through quantum physics and understanding all that. And he's saying even if one at the moment cannot see it because of past merit, for example, your own lifetime, he feels that in your previous life you've accumulated enough merit that you're able to, if not see Guru Rinpoche in person, you're able to see him in your dreams, which is another plane of field where you're between the subconscious and the conscious. We cannot see these other fields. We cannot see Guru Rinpoche. We cannot see the Dakinis with our own minds because of what we believe is our previous karmic obscurations. So what we call the outer obstacles, the inner obstacles, and the innermost secret obstacles. The Dakinis are there to remove those obstacles.
The Dakini is the protector of all the hidden treasures.
Now, you might ask, what is a Dakini?
Dakini code is very sacred and very only known to some individuals. And also this is to preserve certain techniques, certain very profound teachings. Other will be lost. Dakini codes, once Dakini keeps such as profound teaching, is never lost. And all Dakini seems to have codes. And this code can be only known by chosen candidate. And somehow the candidate tend to have a vision about the Dakini. Probably they communicate through their vision, and then Dakini will say, okay, this is the code. And by going through required trainings, and you will be able to open this like an open box.
Dakini is to help protect, help spread the Dharma, and then also to protect from in the wrong hands, falling into the wrong hands. So these are the main Dakini's kind of job or responsible.
Dakinis guide you through dreams or through visions or through coincidences. This is how they guide you, or this is how they inform you. Or if you manage to reach to that level of deeper consciousness through a meditative state, then you can access the information that the Dakinis have to give you.
首先叫空性，我们经常会藏文里面把它称为叫 Kanjo.
Kanjo is the mainly practice of feminines, meaning mainly practice of the wisdom.
All female deities represent wisdom, and this is the superior. And if in Tantra, if we say father and mother Tantra, mother is higher because mother represents wisdom. and male deities represent method.
Wisdom and skillful means the two energy. The skillful means is the masculine energy, and then wisdom is the feminine energy. So when we talk about the deep meditation and the, in general practice, we always talk about union.
In Tantrayana, wisdom, female represents wisdom, and male represents methods. So when wisdom and methods are combined and merged in one, and this is where the realization occurs, achieved. Like for instance, if you wish to produce sound, you can't produce with one hand, you have to use both hands to clap. So the moment you clap from nowhere, this sound just comes out, spontaneously. And this same logic goes to the teaching in Tantrayana.
看着呢是有空性父、空性母，其实是它是一个最重要的一个修法，是空性的修法。
智慧，如果你开启智慧，增长一些智慧的话，需要空性的这个法门。
Dakini in Sanskrit, Khandro in Tibetan, means skywalker. Dakini are feminine energy or Shakti power, in all-pervading, magnetizing universal force. Dakini power is present at both ends of the cycle of creation and destruction. It emanates in various interactive energy forms. In Hindu tradition, the Shakti gives rise to Shiva. In Chinese tradition, the yin gives substance to and rebalances the yang. Different traditions have different expressions of a meaning that is the same. Their energy field is magnetic, all-pervasive like dark matter, and all-consuming like the black hole. The Dakini power exists beyond the constraints of time or space. That is why they are called skywalkers. The penultimate Dakini is Vajravarahi, or Vajrayogini. She wears a necklace of skulls symbolizing disattachment, holds a moon knife for cutting through ego and illusion, and underscores impermanence by drinking blood from a skull cap. All Dakini, in one form or another, arise or emanate from Vajravarahi. By the way, she holds a katanga, trident carried by yogis in the charnel ground with a double vajra representing the indestructibility of energy, and three heads symbolizing past, present, and future. When the Lotus-Born Master did not have a consort physically by his side, his katanga symbolized the feminine aspects or Dakini force. The instrument became most associated with the Lotus-Born Master, who always had it by his side, signaling his full access to the Dakini code. Dakini power can enhance the transformation of energy frequencies from negative to positive if applied with the correct techniques. There were 5 wisdom Dakinis supporting the 8 manifestations of the Lotus-Born Master. These 5 Dakini, or wisdom consorts, were 5 women closest to the Lotus-Born Master, at his side at different times, who practiced secret tantric yogic rites that exercised demonic forces, converting them into protectors. In understanding the quantum energy of fields associated with the Lotus-Born Master's 5 wisdom Dakini, first we must ask who they really are.
So Padmasambhava was a Tantric master from Swat, from the Uddiyana.
莲花生大师是在西藏地区被各个教派尊称为创始藏传佛教的这么一位重要人物。
所以莲花生不应该称之为宁玛派的创始人，应该说称之为藏传佛教的创始人。
Being of the Siddha tradition, often the Siddhas are shown with consorts.
莲花生的5位明妃、5位空行母。
Of course, Rinpoche had countless Dakinis, human, non-human.
Although it was not part of early Buddhism, certainly in Tantric Buddhism, it was very, very common to present the great Mahasiddhas, the great realized adepts of the Tantric tradition, with their consorts. The 5 wisdom Dakinis represent essentially psychological dispositions and capacities that through practice we can actually manifest and realize.
With the Guru Rinpoche, 5 Dakinis.
His 5 major consorts that he had, who were emanations of the 5 wisdom Dakinis, and they're connected with what were often called the 5 Buddha families, or the 5 wisdom families, which are also expressed not in the more original Buddha form, but as the dancing Dakinis, these 5 wisdom energies that are manifest within our lives. They're symbolized by 5 colors, 5 directions, the center and the 4 cardinal directions. What they're representing are actually psychological dispositions which, when they are out of balance, can actually bring us into states of confusion and inappropriate, or let's say ineffectual action in the world. But when they are manifest in their positive expressions, these 5 qualities are actually expressions of enlightened wisdom in itself. All these practices are about transformation. So the 5 wisdom Dakinis are that which actually, by engaging them, they bring about a transformation of being, and they are expressions of enlightenment. So if we really look beyond the surface narratives of Padmasambhava's engagement with Dakinis, it's about his own path to enlightenment as being through the process of engagement with the feminine principle.
If you get into the iconography of 5, so 5 passions are talked about: desire, anger or aggression, ignorance or stupidity, jealousy and pride, and the corresponding wisdoms. There's 5 wisdoms that are the essence of each one of those energies. Each of the Dakinis would be associated with one of those wisdoms, which are then probably associated with each of the 5 Buddha families. So they have, this is the beauty of Tibetan iconography.
The 5 elements, as you mentioned before, 5 elements are the 5 Dakini, Sa, the earth, is a Sangechema, is a one female Buddha. And Chu, water, is a Mamaki, it's another female Buddha, And then Me, the fire, is a Goyokarmo, it's another female Buddha. Then Lung, the wind, wind is another Dakini, Tamsik Joma, the female Buddha. And the Namka, the spaciousness, is a Kai Ingchukma, Namka, there is another female Buddha. So these 5 elements represent the 5 wisdom. So, we are living in a wisdom anyway, We are surviving in all this. Without earth, without water, without wind, without spaciousness, we wouldn't be survive. So everything, when it comes to this, we are, the 5 elements are surviving. 5 elements are, kind of keeping you there, So I would say everything is almost feminine's energy.
Wisdom Dakini is usually, when we talk all the tantric texts inside 5 Dakinis, is like Vajravarahi Dakini, Ratna Dakini, Parma Dakini, Vishu Dakini, Aloka Dakini. That's the 5 Dakinis we talk.
So these 5 Dakini represent 5 power, 5 abilities, 5 realization of Guru Padmasambhava.
Each of the Dakini, Padmasambhava receive a kind of a CD.
The 5 wisdom Dakini of the Lotus-Born Master were each emanations of Buddha Mother of the 5 Buddha families. In order to understand the quantum energy field associated with each of the Lotus-Born Master's 5 wisdom Dakini, Shambhala Studio launched expeditions to each Dakini's source location. The Indian consort, Mandawara, was the beautiful princess of Zahor. In her right hand she holds the arrow of longevity, and in her left hand the Bumpa vase with nectar of immortality. She is considered to be the body emanation of Vajravarahi. Many princes of many kingdoms tried to marry her. Fearing their intention to usurp the kingdom of Zahor, she decided to become a nun to protect her father's kingdom, but not for long. The Lotus-Born Master arrived to teach her Tantric Yoga. The court was furious because she had chosen the life of a nun. They threw Princess Mandawara into a prison cell, then tried burning the Lotus-Born Master at the stake. Using mind power, harnessing the magnetic field at a subparticle level, he altered weather conditions. Rain extinguished the fire. He appeared floating on a lotus in the lake. Realizing their mistake, the entire kingdom became followers. Mandawara was released from prison. Through consort practice, they perfected rainbow body. Our expedition to the ancient kingdom of Zahor, we found the network of caves that was Mandawara's nunnery. In fact, it is still being used as a nunnery today. We found the lake where they tried to persecute the Lotus-Born Master, where he was burned and then appeared on a lotus. We also found the prison where Mandawara was kept. Today it is a Shakti Dakini temple. Worshipped by both Hindus and Buddhists, the temple caretaker's family has been taking care of the shrines in this temple for generation after generation since it was first established to worship Mandawara after she attained rainbow body.
She said that why they have to make this as a temple is because after Mandawara was punished by king, right? So then the kingdom was got the fire. There's a lot of distraction, a lot of obstacle. Many bad sign occurs in the kingdom. Yes, in the kingdom, many bad sign occurs. So then some astrologers and that is checking. So they're saying that place where you give the punishment to Mandawara, you must make some kind of statue, and always you may have to make offering there as a purification for the king. So from there, she's saying that from there, her generation, her the ancestors has been protect her, like that.
Mandawara mastered the practice of rainbow body. Light is the conduit of information. It travels at the fastest speed known. Through rainbow body, Mandawara was creating an electromagnetic field network within her own biosphere capable of transferring information at the speed of light. Mandawara brings us to understand the quintessential point of our very existence as human beings. We are only light bodies, nothing more. But as light bodies, we are totally connected with the universe and can access its furthest reaches without boundaries. Yes, mind power navigating the electromagnetic matrix can bring about intergalactic outcomes with the speed of light. Kalasita was the assistant of Mandawara and became one of the Lotus-Born Master's Nepalese consorts. She was considered the quality emanation or virtue merits of Vajravarahi. She was cast out into the charnel grounds as a child when her mother died. Mandawara found her barely surviving by futilely trying to suck milk from corpses. Kalasita's time living in the charnel grounds may have given her unique ability to use psychic power to cross over parallel universes and communicate with the other side. Now, let's ask another question. What is the other side? Yeshe Sogyal, Princess of Kar-Chen, was the Lotus-Born Master's Tibetan consort, and with the speech emanation of Vajravarahi, when the Lotus-Born Master miraculously crushed demonic forces blocking the building of a grand monastery at Samye, Tibetan King Trisun Detsen was so awed that he presented the Lotus-Born Master with Princess Yeshe Sogyal, who became his key consort. Through years of intensive meditation training under the tutelage of the Lotus-Born Master, Yeshe Sogyal became an enlightened master in her own right, and first among the Lotus-Born Master's disciples. She carries the moon knife that cuts through illusion and the skull cap full of blood representing impermanence and immortality. Yeshe Sogyal's spiritual accomplishment was perfect memory. Therefore, the Lotus-Born Master entrusted her with writing and hiding the Terma's secret teachings for future generations. This makes Yeshe Sogyal the master of code encryption and storage of information in the universal cloud. Yeshe Sogyal wrote down the teachings of the Lotus-Born Master using an encryption code called Dakini script that is only legible to the enlightened ones called Tertans, who can access these codes that she stored in the universal cloud to be downloaded in the centuries to come, so that the Lotus-Born Master's teachings could serve mankind across the ages.
魔法时代的时候，到一个年代的时候，所有的在那个莲花生大师未来的他的化身，都是一个护藏大师，这各种各样护藏大师都是莲花生大师的他的化身来的。
Tashi Kidron was a Bhutanese princess from Bontang, who was the activity emanation of Vajravarahi. When Yeshe Sogyal was practicing esoteric yoga and undernourished, Tashi Kidron brought Bontang's famous honey to her as nutritional supplement. In turn, Yeshe Sogyal took Tashi Kidron as her personal assistant, introducing her to serve as consort to the Lotus-Born Master when he manifested as the wrathful Dorje Drolo. At that moment, Tashi Kidron transformed herself into a flying tigress, carrying the Lotus-Born Master to Taksang, or Tiger's Nest in Bhutan. There are 12 other caves across the Himalayan plateau called Tiger's Nest, where he simultaneously tamed demons, perfecting the hologram principle. Through her flying tigress form, Tashi Kidron has the ability to transverse dimensions of time and space so that the Lotus-Born Master's teachings could be stored in the universal cloud and downloaded in the future when needed at different moments and localities at different times. Belmo Shaki Devi, the emanation of Vajravarahi's mind, was a Nepalese princess forced out of the Patan court palace by her jealous stepmother. She wandered to a cave network to the surrounding mountains at Pharping, already center of Shakti worship, where she became a yogini. There in the forest, it is said that she was raised by monkeys. The Lotus-Born Master found her, and she became his enlightenment Dakini. Some traditions hold that the Kumari of Patan is a manifestation of Bema Shakya Devi. We went to visit Nepal's living goddess to seek her blessing.
So the Kumari were the virgin goddess of the Kathmandu Valley, going back into kind of prehistory. They were the ultimate expressions of the Shakta.
According to the Tantric custom, the Kumari has the powers.
The Kumari could be the emanation of Shakya Devi, or it could not be. His Eminence can't confirm or deny it.
Yes, definitely. Because the king worshipped her, so spiritually she was above the king.
King could not rule. He would have no Shakti, he would have no power to rule unless he received this anointing from the Divine Feminine.
So the Kumari signifies protection of the king, basically, protection of the king. She is so pure. A pure girl is chosen from the Shakya clan. She is so pure that she receives some, not worldly, but from outside, some power, spiritual power, that she is able to guide and portend the future of the king.
The Kumaris are always, they're virginal and they're prepubescent. And the point of that is that they are the state of immanence. And this is what this Sakya Devi represented for Padmasambhava, with a state of pure potentiality right on the cusp of transforming into something else.
They stayed together at Yangle Sho, where he brought together the various Purba practices of the time, synthesizing them into what would become the Vajrakilaya Purba practice, where a ritual dagger is used to break through negative energy fields, to shift the matrix, and eliminate obstacles, turning negative energy into positive. Dakini energy could be understood as the magnetic field, the yin, Shakti power, but what is it?
Shakti is energy, and Shiva is consciousness. Only when you give consciousness to energy will it have some physical form. So when you consecrate a deity, you have to put your consciousness into the energy, and then it will have a physical form, or it will give you physical manifestations of your dreams and your desires. So it is the combination, or it is the union of Shiva, which is the universal consciousness, and Shakti, which is the cosmic power. When these two combine, you can create reality.
So basically the female energy, the higher frequencies, they vibrate much faster and they're more free and they're more open, whereas the male energy, they vibrate a little bit slower, they're more grounded.
Dakini, we have to understand classifications also. So we can say that wisdom Dakini and the worldly Dakini, and another we can say the Dakini in the form of human who helps the teaching to reveal a treasure.
We can have Dakinis in human form, even in this world right now. So, and then they would pair up with great lamas to reveal teachings, and also for the lama and her own self to realize enlightenment.
Dakini, they can be like wisdom Dakini, and also the wisdom Dakini in form of human Dakini or Kando.
Dakini have represent, we call it in Tantrayana Buddhism, the empowerment Dakini, wisdom Dakini, Samaya Dakini, Karma Dakini, and then the blood drinker Dakini.
The earthly Kando Magmu usually can also appear in something called the Shaza Kando, a meat-eating Dakini, which they eat meat of humans usually, eat meat human and drink their blood.
The way Dakinis were actually understood within the Indic tradition prior to Tibet. They were also the flesh-eating Dakinis who just hung around the cremation grounds, and they were not beings that you wanted necessarily associate with. So we have a kind of contemporary understanding of Dakinis as being, to use the Chinese expression, heaven-favored women, which is, in a sense, they are endowed with extraordinary qualities, not just outer, inner, and secret, that make them expressions of wisdom, mind, and which make encounters with them transforming our own being.
Kandumas can come in many
emanations, many reincarnations, many type of forms, like thousands, pounds, 100,000, millions of forms.
Dakini is just an evolved form of the human consciousness or evolved beings on a different dimensional plane that have access to the energy or the cosmic energy. So you can call them as our spirit guides or our angels. These are Dakinis.
Also in Dakini there can be different Dakinis kinds: peaceful, magnetizing, prosperity, and wrathful. So the explanation goes on and on.
There are many Dakinis, and many of them are connected with each other. They manifest themselves in the different form, so that everybody can receive the true message.
And since there are different deities, different Dakinis, there are different yantras and different mantras to access different types of energies. If you have health issues, there are mantras and yantras to access the deity which will take care of your health issues. If you have relationship issues, there are deities or Dakinis to help you with relationship issues. Same goes for your financial status or your marriage life or any other career life. These are all geared towards helping you lead a better life, a more fruitful life.
一心作家父母也好，十面父母也好，祖面父母也好，他这个是修行的过程当中，他的要修法也好，度化众生也好，也不同的这个方法，也不同的一个形象，也不同的价值力量。
Face Singdoma face is lion face. Singdoma is all comes from Vajrayogini. Vajrayogini is power, like Vajrayogini is consciousness, like.
不是生命父母也是本宗，相符一些魔障的话，他们是力量是非常大的。
They looks like shaman, wrathful, and like angry, but they inside the mind they are really compassion mind.
愤怒或是自卑也是空心，有很多方式方法的。
Some people need like wrathful, some people need like peaceful. Some people really you having peaceful, it's nothing, doesn't work. You really need having for the wrathful and angry like this. They were changing, right? Something like this, because not like our angry, they are really compassion angry.
各式各类是主要，它也是怀柔欢喜的空心木。你念这个各式各类父母的话，它所有一切都这个不吉祥的、不欢喜的，所有的这个自然都有欢喜的力量。他说所有的这个众生都能可以欢喜。21个度母有不同的，也是个空心木。21个度母有各种的一些这个八大灾难、水灾、火灾，各种的一些灾难能可以消除的各种的方法，它各种的不同的颜色，不同的这些它的这个度化众生的这个方法和价值力不一样。所以有不同的方法，不同的这个它便利。阿奇曲剧中嘛是这种感觉的不共护法。它是能可以当本宗，也能可以当空性，也能可以当上师，也能可以当护法，也能可以当财神。阿奇父母呢也是非常的慈悲，非常的价值力大。阿奇父母也是度母的发生。
This real us is really wisdom Dharmapala Dakini, Dharmapala, really wisdom Dharmapala Dakini. He is come from the Vajrayogini. Come from Vajrayogini. Really compassion, love and compassion for take care for people. Take care of the people, or who is practice, or doesn't matter. She's take care of the Dharma and take care of the all mother sentient beings, because she is our mother. Really our mother, like really so compassion, so love and compassion, so really strong compassion, Dharmapala.
有骑龙的、骑马的、骑牛的，有不同的形象。阿毗父母上才让前岸，阿毗前岸说他有5个，也是界面，5个界面，也就他5个眷属，也可以讲。下山看住、一心看住、当生看住、往根看住，他一共有5个空性的方法。 阿毗父母是也是这个3根本的一个总体，它是这个也是我们现在不仅仅的这种感觉，现在有很多一些教派，包括这个格律派，也尼玛派，都有学阿毗父母、阿毗父法。 马吉拉真空性母师也是，帕丹巴松吉，就是我们这个是达摩祖师，也是从印度过来的时候，他的上师就是帕丹巴松吉。帕丹巴松吉跟前，他去了这个断法，断除所有的我执。
Chud is about destroying the belief that the self truly exists, and expanding your whole notion of being confined in this one physical body. So just sever it and offer. It's an offer.
As a being, we are estrayed from our ultimate nature. So because of that clinging attachment to self.
It's a wrathful Dakini practice. It's a practice of strong energy to cut through delusion, to cut through the belief that has limited us in our ability to truly realize the extent of consciousness, the extent of awareness that is possible, which is unfathomable.
This is the same practice in yoga, by the way. So basically destroying the ego is part of the yoga practice as well. I guess if you look at ego as not you, it doesn't define you. It's actually a tool. It's very useful because you have to go down and get groceries and navigate. So you have to have an individual self, right? But actually, if you look at it as a tool, you don't always need it. Sometimes you don't need it, and that allows you to actually be a lot more open to possibilities and to be able to access your pure potential without your individual self being in the way.
The practice of Chud is a deprogramming of our strong attachment to ourselves as being true and real based upon being embodied.
你修的这个断法的过程当中，需要很多一些天藏天，8个天藏天，8个眷属，然后再修这些法门，才能就可以成就。
A yogi from Kerala, India, named Padmasambhava, considered to be the founding teacher of Chod. He taught the practice that is understood in the context of the Last Supper. Actually, it is a feast of giving your body and blood to ghosts and goblins as a way of totally eliminating your sense of self or ego. His teachings spread across the Himalayas by his student named Machi Labron, who became the White Dakini. Yes, it was a woman who was spreading the Master's teaching, just as Yishi Sogyal spread the Lotus-Born Master's teachings, and as Mary Magdalene would spread Jesus Christ's. So, now, are you beginning to understand what the Dakini Code really is? Bodhidharma, who founded Zen at Shaolin, was also from Kerala. His disciples engaged in rituals of visualized self-immolation, cutting off arms and fingers, covering blood all over the snow to destroy the ego. Likewise, practicing martial arts at Shaolin was about opening the chakras of the body, killing your own ego to log on to the emptiness factor. In some ways, a form of Tantric yoga.
We have been doing lots of concentration in our spiritual practice. We need concentration to do our spiritual practice, and I mean, this helps us with concentration because Kung Fu also needs lots of concentration. While we are doing Kung Fu, we cannot be like having a monkey mind. We cannot look here and there, and we have to be very concentrative on our which position we are standing in and where our hands are going. And so, and in meditation, it's same. You cannot have a monkey mind. You have to calm yourself and be where you are at the moment.
The poet Rilke's words when he was asked to describe an angel. I think his answer applies very much to what a Dakini is. And he said, angels are those beings that break us out of who we think we are. And this is the message, if you will, that the Dakini gives to the male practitioner or the female practitioner. They are unsettling in the most creative and dynamic sense of the word. They are those who, in a certain sense, shake us out of our complacency, inspire us, as Goethe said in his own poetry, the eternal feminine draws us ever onward.
We can access these Dakinis, or call them guardian angels, or higher beings, through certain rituals by the use of yantras, which are certain geometrical figures, and mantras, which are certain sound, to access these higher dimensions. Sound has frequency. We are at a certain frequency. For us to move to a different frequency, sound is very important. Also, the yantras have their own frequency, and the way they were conceived is through deep levels of meditations done by different yogis or saints or any gurus. So these were handed down. You can say that these were maybe handed down by the Dakinis themselves to those in higher states of consciousness, so that they have a way to access the Dakini energy.
Every aspect of our existence is based on a dual phenomena, the feminine and the masculine. And so the guru is working within the highest intelligence of awareness of saying, okay, he's the masculine, and in order to be in complete resonance with the potentiality of this field, that I need to connect with the other half of this.
Divine feminine, divine masculine. Each of those is only half of one thing. So it's, the yin, the yang. It's so much more powerful when it comes together. And so, of course, there are gurus and people throughout the history of the earth that have cultivated the masculine aspects of themselves and the feminine aspects of themselves. But when you combine with another human who has done the same, it's magnified dramatically. You know, so if you engage in practices where you can meld your energies, I think it's going to create a greater potency.
So if we look at the yin-yang, you know, if we look at the dual toroid, or if we look at anything, you know, they're two halves of a whole. And so to reach the maximum potential of anything would be to be in wholeness.
It's only by balancing yin and yang within a person's system, and by system I mean a complete continuum of the body, mind, and spirit, and not only the physical body. And if we balance the yin and yang and also the different elements at the same time, I do believe we can activate what we call alchemy.
Masculine and feminine energy exists in all of us. Doesn't matter you're male or female, you possess both energies.
And by alchemy, I don't mean turning, you know, lead into gold. It's the transmutation of elements and molecules inside human body. Then profound healing can take place.
The male and the female merge together. It will expand into something very powerful. And it's a process that can also emerge into one energy.
You cannot separate the masculine and feminine force. They are both always there.
We know that male have feminine energy and female have male energy. Male energy is more on a spectrum that is more resonating with the material world. So it's very important because our ego is actually important. The material world is important because we need it to experience a three-dimensional reality. But then the feminine energy, on the other hand, is very important because it allows us to tap into the intuitive part of us that receives the more subtle information that is not resonating with a solid physical body.
So yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to unify or to join with the divine. And it's basically the same as like Taoism, because in Taoism we say 天人合一, which means you want the man and the heaven to be unified. And so it is a path towards liberation or transcending the self.
I think Guru Padmasambhava laid the groundwork for modern Buddhism to take root in China and Far East. He saw, ultimately, in order to truly transcend, you need to detach from the human attachment. And the consort practice had to be less sexual and more focused on the spiritual. And I think he laid the groundwork for that.
The consort, the spiritual consort, as a sexual partner was considered essential in many aspects of the teachings.
And in sexual practice, of course, you practice that high level of energy which you can hold.
I think it's more of a unifying his self. Both male and female unifying in a way that it resonates with the full spectrum that's available in the world. It would not just be using his feminine energy, it would be actually integrating his male, the whole continuum of his male to female energy to be able to be, the most that he can be.
You can see many union practice high tantrics. Looks like two deities, male and female. So its appearance, people to understand too, but its the real meaning is we have the wisdom, we have the matter of bodhicitta, we have the loving and compassion.
Tantra is a system that brings you towards liberation. So any kind of yoga, any kind of path that could bring you to liberation, that is Tantra. And sex can be a tool for it, anything can be a tool for it. That is non-duality.
In our bilateral world, we always talk about the object and subject. We always talk about two sides. In Taoism, we talk about yin-yang. the negative and the positive force. But from Tibetan Buddhism point of view, because we need to break down the bilateralism between what we look at, object and subject, because from Buddha's point of view, I would say equal. Why they're equal then? There is no object or subject. Even you yourself is not a subject. You is part of this unity.
Everyone has the energy actually. We have, we have the male energy and female energy. So if we talk about the Tsalung, when we say Tsa is it's skillful means. Again, it's the tap. And then Lung is wisdom, it's the sharap. So these two has to combine together. So when we practice Tsa and Lung, so Lung is a breathing practices. So we inhale, exhale, whatever you do. So it has to go in. When you practice properly, the right wind should be, entered in the right Tsa. Means is the the Tsa. So then it becomes the combination of union practice.
If you got some hormonal wave erased, of course it changed all the electric modalities inside, because hormones are necessary to send impulses, electric, between one neuron to another. They change electric signals, so it's biochemistry, electrical biochemistry. And when you've got that higher state of released hormones, first of all, you get rid of cortisol, because cortisol leads for your mind to go into beta waves. If you finish with cortisol, because under your kidney there is no cortisol, it's produced by sexual hormones, you got that wave, that stream, and the neuron is adrenaline in the same point it's producing, so you get that heavy stream of energy which is blowing through your mind. And it could raise, if you do that technique right, if you go to bottom like theta waves, like into really sleepy state, at the same time activate your mind with visualization images very high, you'll get that gap between gamma and theta waves, which is necessary for perfect meditation and for samadhi.
The Kundalini yoga process is bringing the masculine and feminine energies together to create a unified field that has no duality.
But if a Tantric master could tap into that force, then the energy of creation could be harvested, it could be accumulated, and the resonance of the human body would become of a higher oscillation, and a higher oscillation as it's building up more energy and more information.
Aside from physically, there is the spiritual level, the quantum physics level, that also simultaneously allows the creation, the unification of the physical and the spiritual.
In sexual energy, the exact same thing. Everything is created from this. Okay? The black hole, the white hole, the yin yang, it's just all references of scale.
So it's this feminine principle of the arousing fire. It's the fire of life. It's kindled in the either in the solar plexus or in the pelvic cavity. In the practice of Tumo, it's done, visualization supports it, but it's also done through a combination of held breaths, of neuromuscular contractions, together with creative visualization, in order to bring about a kind of altered energetic state within the psychophysical organism that suddenly brings us out of the world of hope and fear into a state of kind of ecstatic emancipation.
When you reach the sacred initiation, that is the time that a student is introduced to such practices. Through the heat, the essential drops start dropping from the forehead, until the navel, and each level you experience different happiness, different joy, which is beyond words and beyond expression, and this joy or blissful state adds to your realization.
When you take this fire, it's real fire, and then calm it down with breathing techniques and calm mind, when you've got ice and fire inside, it would came to a high degree of mind empowering. You get special conscious state.
In its true form at the highest level today, it is focused on emptiness and non-attachment, and breathing to achieve the higher level of consciousness.
To be able to achieve non-duality, we'll call it emptiness, or the experience the state of emptiness, and practice Yat Yam is just one of them. So this is not a major practice, but they do. So talking back why they try to use it, because from here, when they achieve great bliss, when they achieve the great bliss for both the Yat and the Yam in achieving, practicing this reunion, you will have a feeling there is a way to direct bliss through the whole body, both bodies, and then all around you, and you are in a state of emptiness, because you and the practitioner, or you call it the control, will in a way not exist.
Every human being experiences joyful, blissful state for a second, but then due to our habitual tendency, we are not able to continue, hold back, improve or progress or prolong such experiences.
Consort practice of Tantrayana, it is very important to understand the behind what you see. It is very important. If we don't see behind this, whatever you see, the concert, then it's very difficult to explain. So that whenever we see as a deity, whether it's a concert, whether it's a wrathful with many faces or many arms, that is something not it about this, about all this. So therefore, we need to go beyond that. That is just the symbolic, but the realization is behind it. You have to go beyond that. So therefore, it is very important for us to understand the behind the story or the behind the object.
When you engage in such practice, first requirement is you are doing out of attachment, free of attachment. Is that possible for anybody? If that is possible, then you are permitted. But people are taking literally, it means that, constant practice like ordinary people, what they do, So it's not the same at all, And there are different skill methods is required to enlighten different person. And this is something very serious, very highly qualified student to embrace and practice.
For anyone who would engage in consort practice with ordinary sexual desire, the practice could never be fully qualified. The practice could never be proper. And so, to think that it is somehow about having better sex is a gross misunderstanding.
And it should not be a publicly taught practice. This should only be left to those who are at the highest levels of consciousness. And the highest levels of consciousness, preferably, they should not ever, they should unify the masculine and feminine energies within themselves. That would be the preferable way.
It's a viable path that at least the Tibetan Buddhist tradition has preserved, I think, in a very immaculate way for millennia. And it's highly secretive for the reasons that it's so easy to misunderstand.
Because human beings, very difficult for them to not be attached to the physical, to not be attached to their desires. Even one tiniest inclination of desire can corrupt that entire process.
Delopa, he said, if you have no attachment, you can own the entire world. There's nothing wrong. But the moment you have a slightest attachment, you even can't own a piece of paper.
Non-duality is you have to practice non-duality from a duality way, slowly eliminating the two sides, to the minimum, and then eventually you become one state.
It's very important to understand this way that Guru Rinpoche achieved so many tantric practices. Through the different tantric practice, he achieved different kind of realization, different kind of psychic he achieved. But all together, he understood in one, because ultimate practice, that is the practice of Mahamudra, which he realized in Parving.
Dakinis are imparting. They are in the spirit realm that help to awaken our minds with this sudden, sharp, intuitive knowing.
Dakinis are different, definitely these crystalline beings who have access to the energy coming from the black hole and redistributing it to us.
Think of the work that's being done on black holes, and how whole galaxies and realms of space are folding in to a singularity and then seeming to disappear.
Black hole, in physical terms, is often thought about as this immense, powerful gravity, point of gravity, where everything just implodes because of that in excessive gravity.
Stephen Hawking, he was very interested in the study of black holes, and together with Boorstein, I believe, they determined that much like a hologram, the information described within a black hole is available in two-dimensional space in the event horizon of the black hole itself. So this was a very significant revelation in that information can be condensed. Huge amounts of information can be condensed in smaller spaces. So implying that the richness of information is very vast in our universe. Is relational. Photon collapses, it's basically appearing out of nowhere.
We only see the event horizon now in relationship to a black hole that absorbs all energy and absorbs everything. So it destroys the experience as we know it.
Black hole is like the yin centripetal force, where the energy is radiating inward, but it's always balanced by a white hole, where the energy is radiating outward. So, but like that center, where the two meet, the event horizon, that is like a wormhole that connects with every other event horizon. So yes, that is how information is shared throughout the structure of the unified field.
We can think of them as the beginning of knowledge. They're the pathway where beyond that knowledge disintegrates into Kali, but they are like the last outpost where the universe holds knowledge.
Black hole or the white hole. If we look at if we look at any sphere, the dual toroid, so half of it is information going in, then the other half of it is information coming out, and they both meet at the event horizon. Right? So that would be the construct of everything at every scale, from the subatomic to the cosmological, galactic level, that everything is an aspect of the feminine and the masculine, and we can define it in terms of esoteric definitions, or we can define it in terms of physics definitions, but they're highly interchangeable and they're really the same thing.
If you think about a screen door or something, every hole in that screen would be connected with every other hole. And then imagine if the screens are piled on top of one another, they're all the little holes would be connected. So that is how information is shared, is through the micro wormhole network of the event horizon.
In terms of event horizon as crossing the threshold of the gate, in which there is not a black hole, but rather dark space. it is possible to visualize. It's possible to imagine.
Gazing at the night sky or up into the blue, that's the cosmic mother. That is emptiness. It's the space that is there, and in the tiniest microscopic lens, however much we've been able to see, what do we see there? There's nothing there. There isn't matter. There is no such thing as a partless particle. So you get down, to where is the smallest particle of matter? So this is what Buddhist philosophers did a long time ago, and some said it's there. There's a particle that has no parts to it, but that is not taught as the highest view, right? There isn't anything. So that's it. That's also it.
And really, we just kind of went astray about 70 or 80 years ago in trying to explain when we understood atoms. We had to say, oh, there must be this little fundamental thing that rules everything. And so that's really where we went wrong. And now we're starting to slowly, painfully start to be open to the idea that, okay, maybe there is this field that we can connect with that the Tantric masters, 1,000 years ago, 1,300 years ago, used to be able to clearly understand and work with.
You can access this timelessness that is simultaneous and interconnected by accessing the singularity within yourself, within every one of your cells, within every one of your atoms. So at the center of everything is this event horizon.
We are all existing at multiple levels, multiple planes of reality, of consciousness. So the quantum physics is just another level, perhaps not one level, but multiple levels of consciousness, depending upon your vibration level.
Entanglement. The idea that matter, if we assume that there was a big bang at one point in time when everything was as a singularity or clustered together, then everything is related, and whatever happens at one end of an entanglement reveals or affects that other side of the entanglement too.
When the universe was formed, there's a background radiation from the Big Bang, and this constitutes the full spectrum of available electromagnetic radiation. And there's a tremendous amount of information resident in this cosmic background radiation that describes the entire universe from its formation. So perhaps an entity represented by the full spectrum of light could be representing the full knowledge and wisdom and information associated with the universe.
The divine feminine, in the context of science and physics, would be integrating with the contractive part, the information gathering part of the toroid, if you will, or of the yin-yang. So information comes in, hits the event horizon, then the information goes out through the masculine side. So that's happening at the subatomic level, it's happening at the cosmological level. There's many amazing images now with the Hubble Space Telescope that when you see the black hole, right below it you see a radiative white hole.
Toroid of energy coming out, and then a toroid of energy going in. And where they meet, right there, that's the event horizon. Everything in the universe has an event horizon. Every single thing, right at the center of every atom, the center of every molecule, the center of every human cell, then the center of every planet, the center of every solar system, the center of the universe, that you have from that center radiative and contractive forces. You can't separate them. We wouldn't have a universe if they weren't balanced.
Yin-yang and other things were information sets that were left for us to decipher. because they're clearly showing the fundamental structure of everything.
Universe is neither male or female, you know. So the energy, if you say the ultimate entity or Buddha nature or the power, whatever, there's no form, there's no gender. So it's like sort of universe.
The most important thing I think that we can support is integrating the science that clearly allows us to understand that there's no such thing as duality, that everything is connected to everything else in real time, that everything in existence is a part of this unified field. And we can now begin to data drive that. And so we just need the current structures, these current limiting beliefs, to start embracing this physics and this science of unification and resonance.
Understanding in science is reaching a sort of limit. Quantum mechanics and relativity are frustrated over the last 30-40 years because simple mathematics as we know it is not able to solve the overall principles, the overall questions which are being posed at physicists now. So again, this dialogue between traditional epistemology and metaphysics and astrophysics and physics is where I think we're going to find this, between traditional wisdom traditions and means of understanding the universe and those that are more empirically based. It's in there that we're going to find this solution.
Challenge is since we don't have a solid model of physics that allows science and the esoteric worlds to be unified into a true understanding of metaphysics, then duality is always going to exist until the point where these two can come together.
Union practice, such wisdom practice, such the skillful means practice. When we do union practice together, so that is the kind of key to realize your true nature of your own mind.
We're all part of the same field. We're a property of space, and we're linked to the Andromeda Galaxy by our quantum fields.
All Dakinis comes from same, go and same, because as Dharma Gayas or same together. Sambhogaya, Nirvana Gaya, then all their consciousness going to the benefit for people as they're going together. And
so the Dakini is the great transformer of human nature.
Dakini power is just a set of frequency, a continuum of different kinds of power.
There are so many Dakinis, yeah? And if you say ultimately they are just one.
When people are talking about the divine feminine right now so much, because yes, it's in reaction to this patriarchal society that we've been in.
Gender empowerment began with Guru Rinpoche.
Really, we need to be talking about the balance of the forces, because that's where true harmony lies. And so I think, in Buddhism, basically the focus on the Dakini is to show the importance of the feminine principle, the feminine energy as part of the whole.
The universe, the way I define it, is very simple. The space, which is still constant, never changes. Plus all the planets in the universe. The planets are changing every second, just like ourselves, changing. All add together the planets plus the space is a whole complete universe. And the mandala that we have a chance today to put us into the hands and control of Padmasambhava, Guru Rinpoche, Lianghuazi Dasi.
The universal hologram, right, is in his hand. He can transform like a molecule into the other one. Like Dodojolo, he can transform in negative power to subdue demon, become positive power. When people are looking at positive, negative power, that means again we fall back to a duality point of view. So from Buddha, Lord of Buddha, or state of Buddha, there's no negative, there's no positive.
Like lionfish Dakini, it's actually true emanation of Pranja Paramita. And sometimes it is also Vajrayogini. So I would say internally they're all connected. Like us, we are all connected internally.
We should look at the Dakini Code as a guidebook to elevating our energy and elevating our intention to access the higher energy frequencies.
It's like the air that we breathe, the water we drink, especially the air. There's no such called this air, that air. Air is the universe. We are all connected within the air, the air that we breathe.
With the Dakini power, we can connect to the quantum field.
Reaching to the level of Dakini's energy, one who can experience the Dakini energy, one who can experience the internal and external space. So that is the highest practitioner of Vajrayana Buddhism.
When exploring one of the 13 tigers' nests found in Kham, I was received by Pema Wangdak Rinpoche, whose father, at the age of 90, is a renowned Turton, or treasure revealer. He brought me to the cliffsite where his father had uncovered a Dorje Drolo practice brought into his mind stream by the Dakinis themselves. Pema Wangdak Rinpoche took me to meet his father to learn the teaching. His father explained how the Lotus-Born Master, as Dorje Drolo, flew on the back of his Dakini, transformed into a tigress, through time and space to conceal the teachings that now need to be revealed. He taught me the meaning of the moon knife used by Dakini. We must cut through both ego and illusion. He explained the importance of the Dorje Drolo practice in taming demons of our current age, so that they can be protectors as we open the gates of our true human potential as children of the universe, and each of us takes our responsibility as caretakers of this fragile planet.
Guru Padmasambhava manifested as Dorje Drolo here in Bhutan.
Dorje Drolo 的一个角色是很重要，非常很重要的。这个八大莲花生大师认为是 Dorje Drolo 是对这个很极强的一个代表的。
He fly on the tiger from Bumtang to Taktang.
Guru Padmasambhava 8 manifestation have 8 different kind of purpose and significance. But then the manifestation, the last manifestation of Guru Padmasambhava is the Dorje Drolo, which he manifests himself, Dorje Drolo, in the cave of Tiger Nest here. And the purpose of Dorje Drolo is to tame in the sentient beings their negative thought, negative energy in the degenerate age sentient beings. Dakini manifests into the tigers. And Guru Rinpoche riding on the tiger, which means Guru Rinpoche subdue all the fear. I think all the Dakinis are the manifestation. Into different time, different places, they manifest into Tashikidin, they manifest into Ishitsoja, they manifest into Mandarawa. So they have a different manifestation. In fact, they are the manifestation of Guru Rinpoche himself.
And then there is no such things as a two things, like Guru Padmasambhava and Dakini as a two. There is no, it's a oneness.
Guru Rinpoche has always repeatedly said that whoever has faith within me, I shall appear before them and manifest before them. So likewise, he feels that what you're trying to do is also sort of increasing the faith and belief that Guru Rinpoche is not some mythical, fantastical being, but is actually here, present in this phenomenal sort of field of awareness. Is here in the present moment. We might not see him now because, our sort of sight or vision is not very clear, but he feels that if you can generate this belief and faith by proving it through quantum physics, then even in terms of Guru Rinpoche and the Dakini, which he says there is no difference, they are one and inseparable. And by discovering that in the Dakini as well as Guru Rinpoche, they will then manifest in a form that we can visibly see or understand.
So Tantric Ritual Union Consort practice is a tool to achieve higher awareness in a state of non-duality or emptiness that allows us to log onto the quantum hologram. Suddenly, everything is possible. Each Dakini, as a separate energy, is accessible as a derivative of the field. An intention placed on the field through ritual visualization can bring about powerful outcomes. The reason during union practice energy combustion is nuclear because at its base foundation there is nothing but pure universal energy. Think of a thought placed on the field as a pebble dropped into a calm lake at dawn. The ripple effect of vibrational frequency spreads. Each thought occurs on multiple dimensions simultaneously. So through the act of tantric union practice, one is connecting onto the matrix, the quantum hologram, or unified quantum field. A thought processed through an action on a micro scale is affecting matter, which is just a composition of waves on both a subparticle, universal, and even intergalactic scale in a same time, same space fabric. Now ask yourself one more question. If Lotus-Born Master is the father of quantum physics, could he also be the father of astrophysics? Remember, the ability to alter outcomes retroactively through the use of tantric consort union practice with the right intention placed on the frequency of the universal quantum field works because time and space do not exist. Guess what? Neither does the mind. The mind does not exist. It belongs to everyone and everything. The unified quantum field is in fact our mind. It is also everyone else's. If we can release our mind, then it is in fact the unified quantum field. Simply said, the subparticle level, our body form, our tiny planet, the universe and galaxies beyond are all interconnected aspects of one. So remember, connect to everything, but attach to nothing. And when in doubt, well, just follow the wind.
Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi. Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi. Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Bemo Yogini Janavarahi, Om Ombemo Yogini Janavarahi, Ombemo Yogini Janavarahi, Ombemo Yogini Janavarahi.